Hello, welcome to my channel and welcome back to part two of success with employees, services, and contractors while you're living here in Mexico, hiring people to do jobs that you need done. Okay, so without further ado, let's just get right back into it. Number 11, keep an eye on the progress and the quality of work you have. Okay, and I would say, you want to do this daily, multiple times per day if you can. If they're building a wall in your yard, or the plumber's working on your plumbing outside or inside, wherever, walk by there a few times during the day, see how things are going, ask them if everything is all right. Sort of keep an eye on the progress so that you could gauge like the entire job, what you needed done, and how they're kind of coming along. And that's going to help you a lot in determining, man, is this really going to happen today, or is this going to take 2 or 3 more days, right? It's kind of up to you to oversee your project. You're kind of your own general contractor. So do that. And that way you'll kind of know what's going on. And you can make sure also that the materials you paid for are being used. Things aren't being wasted or thrown away or carted off when you're not looking. So just keep an eye on things, right? This is good. I would advise this anywhere in any country to anybody. All these same rules apply. This is no disrespect to Mexicans at all. Okay, let's get that straight. Okay, let's number 12. Identify quality issues promptly. Okay, so this kind of goes along with the same thing. If you're watching what's happening, try to identify early when, hey, you know what, I'm not happy with this over here, and try to calmly talk to them about it. If you don't know a lot about what's happening, you may not understand that some things, may happen further down the line in the scope of the work. So, that's one reason why you want to approach it calmly, because you may be wrong. It may not be time to do whatever you think, hey, you didn't finish this, and they might explain to you that, yeah, it's not time to finish that yet, right? So leave yourself open to that kind of thing. And also, here in Mexico, if you deal too forcefully, too aggressively with workers and contractors, they can just get mad and they can say, I'm leaving, I'm done, that's it. And they could just walk right off your job. Okay, I've heard about this many, many times. So that's just not how business is done here. Business is done polite, face to face, and calmly. They don't yell and scream at each other. That's just not how it's done. They're not used to that. They don't take it well, and so just don't do that. It's not a good policy anyway, anywhere. But I would just especially ask you to remember that when you're dealing with people, even when you're really frustrated, walk away for count to 10, whatever. And then come back when you're a little more calm, and then have the conversation, and it'll end up better for you in the long run. So it's really important. Number 13, be prepared for requests about extra money, advances, loans. I have an issue, I have a problem, can you help me and I'll pay you back, or you can deduct it from my pay or what you owe me. This is super common, and you're just going to have to decide on this yourself. You're just going to have to figure out your own strategy, what works for you. Look, am I just going to say no to all that? Probably you're smart if you do that. That's not me. Unfortunately, sometimes it's just not me. It's just, if someone comes to me and they say, look, I have a problem, my truck broke down, or I needed a special tool, or my tool is broken, I need to replace it, I don't have the money, I'm going to keep working for you. Most of the time I'll do it, and then I'll deduct it from those payments for the guys as we go along. But like I said, that's up to you. But get your strategy figured out in advance so that you know, because just understand that it probably will come. And then what is my strategy going to be? Am I just going to say no to all that? Or am I going to try to figure out if this is a real need and I want to help? Or I just want to help because I want, if somebody says they need help and I want to help. That'll be up to you. But just get your strategy together. Okay, you'll be happier that you did. That way you're not feel like you're put under the on the spot, right? You don't want to feel like you're put on the spot. I don't like having to make decisions like that. I'm sure you don't either. So if you can understand that, hey, this might be coming, what is going to be my way of handling it, right? Okay, so make sure you got that done. That'll be important because 9 times out of 10, that's coming in whatever job you have. Doesn't really matter. Uh, Number 14, do not pay in full until the work is complete. Okay. Uh, this is going to be challenging if you're paying for labor by the week, but you're going to still have to try to do it if you can, because you don't want to get down to the place where you've been paying on the labor. Let's say you agreed for a job and it was 10,000 pesos in labor, and you've been paying every week, 2,000 pesos or whatever, for example, which should be enough to cover about 5 weeks, right? Well, if you're at 4 weeks and you've just handed them 8,000 pesos and there's only 2,000 left, and you see, man, they got 2 or 3 or 4 more weeks to go. You're going to need to approach it with the guy right then and at least hang on to whatever you have left, because that is your only leverage in getting the job completed. Once you've paid, you have no leverage anymore. And if somebody just wants to walk away, which does happen, and more than is fair, that's for sure, you want to try to have some leverage to get people to do what you need them to do. Okay, so that's kind of a tough one to do, especially if you're not familiar with getting things like this done. But just be aware of it, and this is why you want to be kind of tracking the work as it goes. Okay. uh, Number 15, I guess we're at. Treat them fairly, right? Don't I was a contractor, so maybe I'm biased, but if a person is going to come and do work, sometimes they could be hurting or really need money, and they might offer to do a job when for really cheap, and you see that, man, this, I've talked to some other people and they said it was this much, and this person I don't think is asking for enough money. It should raise red flags anyway, that either he doesn't understand what you want him to do, or he's just taking it too cheap, which is going to be a problem for you in the end. So, treat the people that work for you fairly, right? Always looking for the best deal, always trying to negotiate on price. A lot of times they'll come back to haunt you, because if they feel like, man, this person just doesn't want to pay a fair price for this work, probably the workmanship you get is not going to be the way you want it. Okay, so I don't want to be too preachy about this stuff, and take with it what you will. Uh, Number 16, do not expect any extras. Don't expect them to do extra work without compensation. If you say, oh, while you're here, could you do this or could you do that? Well, you should offer to pay for that. Don't ask them to throw that into the deal. It might seem like, oh, that would be great if I could get this done for free, but it's not fair. It's not treating someone else, a working person, fair for the work. If you need something extra done, well, then you should offer to pay for it. That's just my personal opinion. Same thing. Do with it what you will. Number 17, help good workers by recommending them to others. If you've had a great experience with a guy and he's done everything you asked him to do and you're happy with the work, well, help him out by recommending him to your friends, and maybe even you can write a nice Facebook post about him, which not only is good for the person that did this work for you, but it's also good for the others, your friends or even strangers that are looking for someone to do the work. And inevitably, this is going to help the whole system, because the good ones will last and they'll be there because they've got plenty of work. Okay. Number 18, understand your responsibilities under the law. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to go into all that with you. But you want to know what your responsibilities are in either hiring someone to clean your house, do your yard, a contractor, whatever it is. And you can take that as far as you want. If you want to talk to a lawyer about it, fine. If you just want to ask friends and see what your neighbors have done, that's your decision. If you don't want to do any of that and you just want to do it on your own, that's up to you as well. Okay? But you should understand what your responsibilities are so that you can face the consequences if you decide either not to do it or you don't need to do it or whatever. Just trying to help. 19 is expect some disappointments. Okay, uh, there's no if, ands, or buts about it. There'll probably be some little details that you're not happy with, and in my opinion, some of the Mexican labor, some of the contractors are just not as critical of small details as maybe they are in other places. And I don't think this is intentional, or I don't think they're trying to rip you off or disrespect you, be disrespectful to you. I just think that this is a cultural difference, that little tiny details are just not very important to them, and then they don't understand why you're upset or why it would bother you, because it's, in their estimation, a tiny detail. Could be huge for you, but I would expect some of this. Okay, that's just the way it goes, and you can deal with it how you want to deal with it. You can get really upset about it if you want, or you can know that it's not going to be perfect, and I'm going to try to get it as good as I can. Then I'm going to live with it, and I'm not going to look at it every day and torture myself with the little bit of grout on my tile that doesn't look right. Okay. All right, the last one, number 20. Don't blast your bad experiences on social media. Okay, so if you have a contractor, a worker, whatever it is, don't jump on social media and start blasting, saying what a crappy person they are and how they didn't do the work and they ripped you off and they stole from you and all this stuff. And not that maybe you're not entitled to do that, but the slander laws in Mexico, again, I'm not a lawyer, but the slander laws are strong in Mexico. And if you go criticizing a business online that could potentially hurt their business, they could go right to the cops and you can have trouble. And I've seen it before. I had a friend that went to jail for making these kind of statements before in public. So, if you want to talk to your friends about it or something, I would recommend doing it, privately. Perhaps, if you really feel the need, like you got to warn other people, maybe you could just say, I wouldn't recommend this person. And I don't think you'll, have any issues with that. But if you start listing these things or accusing them of crimes, you could get yourself into trouble. Okay, I don't want you to get in trouble. You don't want trouble. You're just trying to get some work done or a job done. So just keep that in mind. If you could follow these tips, you're going to be a lot more successful in dealing with and getting the results that you're paying for. And that's what I want for you. Okay? So I hope this helped. I would appreciate your comments on this video. Let me know if it did help you. That'll let other people know if these items might have helped you out. Okay? So I appreciate your time, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.